Bar stools turned upside down, just you, me and this longwood rail. Sign over the bottles, humming soft like a tide, fluorescent jail. Back door to my office is open, lamp still burning on the books. Columns and youth, chillin' back in the breeze. Yes, the looks useful. You dry glasses with slow hands, say a rough night for many ties. I shrug and tap the counter answer, just adjusting someone's size. In that drawer behind my desk, there's a file with one name bold, a man who used to share my coat when the nights came in too cold. I was the one that took blues favors and turned them into straight lines, turned street talk into interest, turned late pay into hard fines. Learn to move zeros like soldiers, send them marching where they fit. Keep the balance looking honest while the ghosts pay for it. There's a rule for every secret that they slide across my desk. You don't mix blood with business, you don't call a gamble blessed. You don't lend more than you're willing to lose and still stand tall. And you never let a man forget who caught him in his fall. But these pages don't stay paper when the ink sinks in too deep. Every margin hides a story that won't let us tell us sleep. In my midnight ledger, every favor has a cost. Every name I underline is another corner lost. I keep the numbers perfect so the bosses feel secure. But there's a brother in the balance, I can't wash off my conscience pure. I built this quiet power from the shadows of their crime, and the line that keeps him breathing runs straight through my pen tonight. We started splitting cheap meals, counting coins in plastic trays, sharing one clean shirt between us on the better paying days. He was muscle, I was figures, he was motion, I was schemes. He walked out of narrow hallways while I polished all the dreams. Now his name sits near the bottom of a column marked concern. Boss wants pressure on his corner, says it's time he starts to learn. You ask, so what's your problem? That's the road you chose to drive. I say problem is the entrance when you charge it to the ones who kept you alive. I could fold that sheet and vanish, slide his dead beneath the lie. Call it mercy, call it treason, but at least he doesn't die. Or I could leave the ink as written, let the figures take their wind, let the math erase a brother while I straighten up and grin. Either way, I'll lock that drawer before the first man hit the floor. Smooth my cuffs, adjust my collar, walk out knowing what I'm for. In this midnight ledger, every favor has a cause. Every name I underline is another bridge half lost. I keep the columns tidy so the bosses sleep just fine. But I'm the one who feels the weight of every unpaid line. So pour one more for the accountant who keeps quiet, sharp and clean. 'Cause when I close that book tonight, I'll know what kind of man I've been. table, plastic gloves in the trash, thin towel by the bathroom, bleach biting through the past, suitcase half open, shirts folded dark and plain, number scratched on a matchbook if they ever speak my name. Ice machine in the hallway, breathing like a tide alone. Neon from the diner stains the curtains fainting on. You're somewhere down this highway, making noise you call a wind. I'm the quiet call they make when they want the dark drawn in. Stories, kid, I just wipe the ink. I don't chase the spotlight, I just stand beside the brink. Loud men love the mirrors, love the way their shadows grow, till reflections start demanding more than they can ever hold. I'm moving after footsteps when the shouting's burned away. Tidy up what's left of all the legends of the day. No trophies on my dresser, no pictures on the wall, just a jacket on a hanger and a number they can call. You think the world remembers who talked hardest in the room, but names fade faster than the circles from a glass in cheap perfume. When your noise draws heat and the bright lights glow, they send for the quiet one they barely know. I walking slow with my head down low, living by the cleaner's code, leave with nothing to show. You stand in the window where the hot wind blows. I live in the hallway, boy, and still walk home. I've seen kids just like you, leaning by the back room doors. Fresh shoes, fresh stories, same stains on the floor. They laugh at simple warnings, call it fear dressed up as age, till a thin file lands open with their picture on the page. You think they crave your temper, think they need your flare and flame, but the men who sign the ledgers barely memorize your name. They will ring this room one evening, say there's too much you have shown. Ask me like it's nothing to make sure you're never known. So listen once in quiet before you throw the rest away. Power isn't thunder, kid, it's how you leave the day. Quiet men write endings that the loud men never see. You can join the echoes, or you can move like me. When your noise draws heat and the bright lights glow, they send for the quiet one they barely know. I walking slow with my head down low, living by the cleaner's code, leave with nothing to show. If you keep painting targets everywhere you go, you'll meet me in a doorway you don't wanna know. Flickering strip light hums up the bathroom door, then blue towel on the handle, muddy boot prints on the floor, motel key on the nightstand with a plastic scratched up name, suitcase by the sink half zipped from when the bad news came. There's a page on my lap, ink bleeding at the fold. One more story I won't send to you before I hit the road. I'm the man they dial at midnight, when the shouting's long gone cold, when the stains are on the carpet and the alibis get sold. I wipe down more than tables in these low and humming rooms, folded shirts that weren't mine under tired fluorescent moons, kept your number in my pocket like a fuse I wouldn't light, did my talking with my silence in my boots at dead of night. You said there's something human hiding underneath your stare. I laughed it off and changed the subject, left you standing on the stair. But every empty hallway echoed with your name against the tile. Every door I closed behind me carried edges of your smile. Now there's a suitcase by the sink and your shadow in this glass. I'm the quiet last decision when they need the mess to pass. They can't pay for disappearing, they can't pay to make it clean, but they don't get to draw my ending like the scenes I've always seen. So I leave that suitcase by the sink, and I don't write where I'll go. I walk out as a cleaner, finally keeping what I know. Coffee cup on the dresser, ring of brown around the lip, ice machine down in the hallway with that broken metal drip. I could drive back towards your doorway, leave this envelope and wait, let you read what my hands carried, let you stand beside this weight. But the circle that I walk in will just pull you through it too. So I underline this distance as the last thing I can do. I'm not asking you to save me or to bless the things I've done. I just won't let strangers own me or reach you through my gun. If you ever hear a whisper that I vanished in the night, know I packed the worst of me and chose a different kind of fight. There's a suitcase by the sink, and the ink is running thin. I'm the last name on the paper when they want the dark walked in. They can buy their quiet endings, they can pray no one will think, but I'll trade this nameless number for the road beyond this brink. Yeah, there's a suitcase by the sink, and your picture in my mind. I walk out as the cleaner, leaving all of them behind. Soft light on the ledger, one lamp over my hands, columns full of quiet stories nobody understands. There's a half-warm glass of water by the corner of the sheet, wall clock on the woodwork, second hand that never sleeps. Safe door hums behind me, guarding things we never named. I sit here in this office while you work the miles of street. You knock and never enter till I buzz you through the door. You bring the night's collection, every bill and every score. I glance at scraped up knuckles as you drop the folded roll. I count without a tremor, mark the margin, keep control. You think the ones who pay us are the ones who fear us most, but the names that miss my columns are the ones that turn to ghosts. Money moves like a rug down these figures, down these roads. Every fave, every warning has a cost that no one shows. Every debt has a shadow, and I ride who takes the fall. From this high and quiet office, far above your backroom brawls, I'm the calm inside your chaos, I'm the pause before you run. I keep the balance steady, and I live with what I've done. Songs we did last winter still burn bright behind my eyes, like the night we trimmed a number and a man slipped through the lines. I remember how you started, just a kid with sharpened pride. Now your name sits near the red ink on the margin by my side. If you think this game is endless, take a look at how it ends. Every face along this letterhead was once one of my friends. One more call, one more favor, one more file to disappear, one more courier in the lobby, brushing city dust metal door clicks, carriage lifts, platform slowly slides away. Strip light buzzing over vinyl in this narrow spine of gray. Ticket folded in my wallet, suitcase breathing overhead, velvet seat bag to the window, empty pillow by my head. Station clock was near to midnight as those lines and siren stairs. Few lone figures on the platform, each with their own kind of cares. I'm the one here running hardest from a life I built by hand, from the quiet, tidy business that can bury any man. I've walked corridors and basements where the carpet never sees the sun, held briefcases by the handle while the numbers came undone, sat in polished waiting rooms where no one used each other's names, watched a handshake tilt a future without anyone to blame. This city pays in folded paper, in apartments out of sight, in revolving corner tables where the deals are drawn at night. But every stairwell, every hallway started echoing your voice, and I knew that if I kept you, it would steal away your choice. You love the man who read the paper by the counter of your stove, not the one who left at daybreak with a ledger in his coat. I can't be both and keep you honest, keep your hands from what I've done. So I bought this rolling shadow and I climbed aboard and run. I don't beg this city mercy, I just walk out through the dark with my name still on my shoulders and your shadow on my heart. If a man like me stays waiting, they'll decide how his book ends. So I write my leaving chapter on these turning iron bends. I'm no hero, I'm no martyr, but I know my kind of art. I don't kneel for any verdict, I just walk out through the dark. Left a note beside the kettle, key still hanging by the door, boots lined up along the hallway like they'd never moved before. You were sleeping on the sofa with a blanket at your knees, lamp still on in that small corner where you like to read in peace. I stood watching from the doorway, counted 20 steady breaths, slipped my watch down on the table, took my silence like a test. If I woke you, I would soften, lose the edge I said I'd keep. So I kissed the empty doorway and I went back to the street. If you ever hear this echo in a station far from here, know I traded arms around you for the chance to keep you clear. I'm the weather at your window, not not the roof above your bed. I can carry what would break you, I can bear that weight instead. I don't beg this city mercy, I just walk out through the dark, with my name still sharp and steady, in your memory like a spark. If a man like me dies cornered, all his pages turn to ash. So I leave before they corner me, before the warnings turn to flash. I'm no hero, I'm no angel, but I know my final mark. I won't drown inside this city, I will walk out through the dark. Slide a heavy glass my way, wipe a circle in the rain. Back room lights are yellow, and the jukebox doesn't sing. Collar open at the throat, tie loose like a tired lie. Holster pressing at my hip, case notes flicker in my mind. Badges sleeping in a drawer, 3 blocks from where we sit. Out here I'm just another man who knows where all the bodies fit. Files stacked like leaning houses on a desk I left unlocked. Names pinned up with colored tape, lines of red that never stop. Some of those lines run straight through men who pay me not to see. Then envelopes on my table, quiet fees for loyalty. I call it keeping order when I let the small sharks swim. Long as bigger teeth stay quiet, I could say I work for them. I don't claim to be a savior, never wore that kind of light. I just learned to walk the hallway between wrong and almost right. When the badge is off the clock, I'm still on. I'm the number that you dial when you can't call anyone. I keep the tape around your trouble, keep your name off every line. You don't get that protection without owing me some time. Law goes home at 5 o'clock, but this city doesn't stop. So I sell my sleep in pieces with my badge off the clock. half smiling, half on trial. She once asked me what I stand on when the floor begins to tilt. I said a man is just his choices and the weight of what he's built. Now I lean on this oak table like it's stronger than my past. Count the lines I didn't cross, not the money I let pass. You can call it crooked mercy, you can say I feed the beasts, say I'm pulling hidden strings or just enabling their feasts. Either way the phone keeps buzzing every time the sun goes down. They don't care about my conscience if I keep their secrets drowned down. When the badge is off the clock, I'm still on. I'm the shadow in the doorway where your clean friends never come. I can lock your name in folders, keep your sins between these walls, but you'll see my shape reflected when the higher hammer falls. I won't cry about the damage, I just straighten up my knot, walk back out into the night with my badge off the clock. Last call on the platform, letters flicker overhead. Vending machine humming like a low voice in my head. Suitcase by my boot heel, handle worn and smooth. Ticket folded in my pocket like a secret I approve. Bench paint peeling under where I never cared to sit. Departure board half empty, like it's daring me to quit. This city waits behind me on the far side of these rails, breathing through the freight yard, hoping that a man like me still fails. I've closed too many doors in back rooms with no name. Watched two men shake each other's hands and never leave the same. Kept my shadow off their spotlights, kept my fingers off their crown. Let the loud ones face the cameras while I balance what went down. I walked out of quiet offices with my heart beat slow and clean. Left the voices in the hallway, took the weight they their damage, the more they write you in, till the city holds your outline like it's proof of every sin. You can live inside their stories till they carve you into stone, or you can buy one silent moment and decide you're going home. So I bought a ticket with no return, one line, one track, one way. Put my name on something final that the streets can't make me pay. Let the rumors chase my outline through the alleys where I burn. I'll be rolling through the darkness on a ticket with no return. Men like me don't beg for mercy when the tables start to turn. We just pack what we can carry and take a ticket with no return. Train doors slide like blade steel, cool air spills through the car. I take the seat beside the aisle, keep my back against the bar. Ceiling lights grow softer as the station drifts away. Row of empty gray seat backs pointing forward like they pray. My reflection in the window wears the same old careful stare. Tie a little loose and like there's still some of this city in the glare. I thumb a small black notebook, tear a page and fold it twice. Drop a number in the trash bin, let it land there like the price. Never keep a contact you can't bury in one night. Never build a kingdom where the walls don't feel right. Never trade your exit for another borrowed throne. Never bet your freedom on a name you don't own. You can waste your whole life paying for the favors you once earned, or you can step across that gap with a ticket with no return. So I ride this ticket with no return, rails humming under steel. Let the past keep all its stories, let this city chase what's real. If they raise a glass without me, let that empty chair still burn. I'll be somewhere past the outskirts on a ticket with no return. Men like me die standing, or we leave before we're turned. Tonight I wrote my ending with a ticket with no return. Close the door behind you, let the hallway hum fade out. Take a seat across the table, this is not a place for doubt. Desk lamp on the corner draws a circle around your face. Safe door standing halfway open, numbers breathing in that space. There's a folder by your elbow, paper stiff and edges worn. You keep staring at the windows like that's still where you were born. You see lights in the early morning, I see columns, names and dues. Every favor leaves a footprint, every hand you shake a bruise. I don't carry guns for thunder, I don't shout to clear a room. I just balance what they're owing, I just choose who meets their doom. You keep talking about respect like it's something you can steal. Out here power's in the ledger and the men who make it real. There's a point you cross in silence, no one cheers, there's no rewind. You can step or you can back out, but you leave a piece behind. These are lines in the ledger, once you cross they carry you. Ink runs deeper than a bullet, numbers doing what men can't undo. You want your name in the whispers, wanna wait in every hand, but the page never forgets you, it will own the way you stand. You think you're just making choices, think it's only one more deal. These are lines in the ledger, boy, they write over what you There was once a man above me, liked his suits and talked too loud. He would toast on every payday, he loved the cameras, loved the crowd. When his luck turned into thunder, when the sirens learned his song, I was sitting in this office, moving figures all night long. By the time they hit his doorway, I had folded up his reign, left his title on the letterhead, kept the keys and took the strain. Understand this quiet office cuts a sharper line than steel. I can lift a family upward, I can teach a man to kneel. You don't get to just be ruthless, you don't get to just be kind. You decide whose house stays peaceful, you lose hours, keep your mind. These are lines in the ledger, once you cross they brand your name. Ink's more faithful than your brothers, it remembers loss and gain. You want gravity in meetings, want the room to lean your way, but the cost lies in these pages, in the faces you can't say. If you still want it, sit closer. If you're wise, you walk away. These are lines in the ledger, and they don't fade out with age. Blinds have closed on this city. Little veins are moving light. Desk lamp paints your young face gold, leaves my side mostly night. Ledger open by my wristwatch, columns marching down the page. Ink still wet on someone's balance, interest paid in quiet rage. You sink back in that leather, swear you're ready for this throne, but you're staring at the surface of a game I overthrew alone. Every handshake that you're chasing, I got written in this book. Every favor you're so proud of has a darker second look. That corner booth you think you've earned, that long table at the club, is a sum of men who owe us, and the ones we had to scrub. See this row of tiny numbers by the name you idolized. That's how far he dropped in silence when he ran out of disguise. You keep talking about glory like it's hanging in the air. I just hear the final total when the room is cut to bare. All I see are lines in the ledger where you only see a crown. You call it climbing into heaven, I call it not breaking down. I keep the balance in the shadows, I decide what's owed and when. Every story that you dream of is a debt that comes again. If you want your name up here, kid, learn to carry what you measure, 'cause the weight that makes you legend lives in lines inside the ledger. Here's a mark beside a brother that I trusted like my own. One small note adjusted shares, now his name is just a tone. He got greedy with his hunger, made a side deal out of sight. So I shifted 3 small digits and he vanished from the light. You look sick, but in this office, that's just numbers keeping time. You don't swing the blade yourself here, you just underline the crime. I don't need to raise my voice, kid, I don't shout to make men shake. I just move a line an inch and watch their whole world start to quake. Some nights I can hear the echo of the choices that I've done, but I straighten up my cuffs and let the balance overrun. All I see are lines in the ledger where you only see the light. You call it owning half this city, I call it inheriting night. I keep the balance in the shadows, I know who will break and win. Every victory you're craving is a bill that comes again. If you sit here in this chair, boy, don't confuse the thrill with treasure, 'cause the price of looking fearless lives in lines inside the ledger.
faded lines, benches cold beneath my coat, last departure on the sign. Paper cup beside my boot, ticket folded in my hand. Wonderful in an old briefcase with the pieces that still stand. Vending machine is humming like a far-off engine drone. No announcements on the speaker, just a tired electric tone. When this train pulls through the darkness, there's no coming back the same. I'm not running from the fire, I just stepped outside the game. Left a letter on your table underneath your favorite mug. Said I'd keep your windows quiet if I never came back up. You were sleeping on the sofa with the TV talking low. Street light on that faded blanket, threw a movie on your clothes. I could have stayed and played the husband in a house I couldn't trust, but the life I've been collecting doesn't turn itself to dust. So I kissed your hair in silence, closed the latch without a sound. Took the stairs like every other midnight ghost that walks this town. This city taught me how to weigh a scar against a score, how to shake a steady hand while counting exits and back doors. I got the last ticket out of the game. Not a prayer, not a panic, just a move in my name. I'm no hero, no frame saint to acclaim. I'm a man who chose to walk before the house called my claim. Let the young blood chase the legend, let them fight for the flame. I got the last ticket out of the game. Now the carriage rocks in shadow, empty seats and quiet glass. Lines of light across the aisle cut the countryside in half. There's a motel key in pocket from a night I can't rewind. Couple names I never mentioned drifting somewhere in my mind. I won deals in backroom corners, lost a brother on a stair. Signed my name on too much paper just to prove that I was there. But my code states something simple, take the weight that's really yours. So I'll carry what I've carried through a different set of doors. To the boys who think the stories end with cash and raised up hands, count the men who left the table without both their steady hands. If you ever feel the dealer start to memorize your face, better choose your own goodbye before it chooses your last place. I got the last ticket out of the game. Not a plea, not a breakdown, just a cold, quiet change. I'm no savior, no lost soul to reclaim. I'm a man who drew a line, stepped across his own name. Let the streets keep all their echoes, let them whisper my shame. I got the last ticket out of the game. Bedroom after closing, bolt and chain across the door. Front lights bleeding through the glass and strapping up the floor. Ledger open on the table, numbers marching in a row. Single lamp above my shoulder makes the paper breathe and glow. There's a glass beside my right hand with the ice almost asleep, and a pistol in the drawer, like a promise I don't keep. You laugh and call me careful, say I'd count the world to dust. Now I'm talking to your shadow in the balance of my trust. I've been adding up the favors, all the broken, all the pain, signing off on quiet kingdoms in the margins that I made. When they needed dark decisions, I was sitting where I sit, turning chaos into columns, putting names to every split. You were always at the front door, laughing loud, collecting dues. I was in the back with ledgers, letting numbers pick and choose. When the whispers came about you, running hot with one side bet, they slid your folder down the table, asked me which wrist to forget. I told them walls stay silent, but the figures always speak, and the math says save the many, let one promise take the lead. Now your name's still in my ledger, carved deep in the black. I'm the man who holds the balance, never gets to turn it back. I keep this city in my columns, and every debt and every bet. I can level out the surface, but I can't erase your debt. I walk these quiet offices like a king without a throne. Your name's still in my ledger, and I carry it alone. That night under the staircase, when they said you wouldn't show, I had already done the numbers, just refused to let it show. Signed a paper, gave a signal, moved a car from slot to slot, watched the red light on the monitor bloom, and then go dark and hot. They shook hands around the table, called it business, called it clean. I stepped out into the hallway, let the hallway stay unseen. On the wall a crooked mirror, caught a suit that looked like mine, with a brother-shaped reflection, cut clean out of the design. I'm not asking you for mercy, I don't lay this at your feet. A man who lives by numbers knows which ghost he has to meet. If the price of keeping order was your laughter turned to hush, then this quiet in my chest is just the interest that won't crush. So your name stays in my ledger,
same me. Every time I stamp a payment, it's your face that makes me think I can move 100 fortunes with a flick of steady hands. But I can't undo that evening when you slip between the plans. I'm the cold one in the back room, but there's one thing I don't spend. Your name stays in my ledger, on the page beneath my skin.
Room key unlicensed, plastic tag with a faded 8. Curtains barely holding back the glow from the roadside gate. There's a paper cup of coffee cooling next to your short suitcase by the dresser, folded bills inside my coat. I turned the deadbolt with my shoulder, let the silence settle in. Started talking to your memory in a message I won't send. They call me when it's broken, when the stain won't wash away, when the loud boys lose their courage and they need someone to stay. I don't ask too many questions, I don't need their hearts confess. I just follow quiet orders, put their trouble back to rest. You keep asking for a promise, for a door I won't walk through, but a man who stands too long here ends up underneath it too. Out there, the fuel pump's ticking, highway breathing in the dark. Here it's just a tired clock and your name underlined like a mark. So I leave the keys on the nightstand when the mess is finally done. Walk out down the humming hallway, gone before the rising sun. I'm the hand that wipes the table, I'm the boot that stops the slide. I fix what they can't live with, then I disappear outside. I remember your small kitchen, crooked chair and chipped white plates. How you laughed and topped my coffee while I talked of exit gates. You said one day you'll get tired of that suitcase by the door, but the only way I'm breathing is by always wanting more. There's a map spread on the bedsheet, heavy lines and dark blue pen. Every arrow leaves this highway, not a single one back in. If I ever cross that county line with no bag and no alarms, I'll come knocking like a stranger with these scarred but steady arms, till this last clean job is finished and my ledger's running clear. All I've got to send you, darling, is this voice low in your ear. So I leave the keys on the nightstand when the mess is finally done. Head out past the humming icebox, gone before the morning spun. I'm the ghost inside their trouble. I'm the calm before their slide. I fix what they can't live with, then I vanish with the tide.
There's a lamp on in the corner, throws a circle on the wood. Ledger open by my elbow, where the bad turns into good. You're leaning in that leather, tapping rhythm with your heel. Eyes bright like the city, think you're sharp and tempered steel. On the wall, the second hand is carving lines we can't erase. Your reflection in the window sits beside this tired face. You say you want a bigger cut, a sharper place to flex, but every man I ever weighed sat in that chair across my desk. I don't flash it in the alleys, I don't shout it in the bars. I move numbers through the quiet while they brag about their cars. I redrawn a dozen empires with a phone call and a pen. Turn loud mouths into blank lines, ghosts that never come again. See this file along the edge here, see that folder marked collect. Half the faces there were smiling when they swore they'd show respect. You remind me of those pictures when you talk like you're the next, and every one of them once leaned back in that chair across my desk. You think it's just a table, just a handshake and a fee, but when the ink dries on that paper, every number runs through me. This chair across my desk, it don't belong to boys who shake. It's a throne of crooked ledger line, every quiet choice you make. You want your name in every whisper, want your cut from every mess, but you don't see how much gets taken by this chair across my desk. If you sit there for the power, better pay for what you get, 'cause the seat remembers every single debt it has to collect. I've been hearing how you're moving, how you're lighting up the scene, leaving phones out on the table, walking noisy, loud and clean.
There were cameras by the loading bay, too many eyes along the dock. You left footprints in the hallway, where you know I keep the lock. Now they're asking me in boardrooms if you're someone they can trust, if the kid that I've been backing isn't turning into rust. I can pull you from the ledger, with a flick erase the text, or teach you what it really cost to take that chair across my desk. I built kingdoms out of margins, out of spaces no one saw, stacked up quiet little favors into unbreakable law. I don't need to raise my voice, I just shift a single line, and a hero turns to rumor in the corners of their minds. This chair across my desk, it's a promise and a blade. It will crown you in the silence, it will charge you what you're paid. You want thunder when you enter, but the storm here plays in chess. Every move another lifetime on this chair across my desk. If you walk back out that doorway, learn to move with more finesse, or sit down, sign and understand what you become across my desk.
Papers in a tired kind of gold. Safe door sleeps behind me, combination set on cold. Ledger open on the table, fresh ink running on your name. You're standing by the window, eyes on all that burning frame. Clock hand ticks like distant knocks along this office wall. File stack leaning like a tower, waiting just to fall. You came up on smaller corners, now you're staring at my chair. You say you want the whole room, but you don't know what sits there. started counting for a man who stacked his secrets high. He taught me how to measure risk in columns, not in pride. Every favor had a figure, every promise had a fee. He said, you don't have to like it, but the numbers talk to me. Then I watched him miss a payment on a name he couldn't cross. Saw his picture leave the hallway, saw his family take the loss. I was left with all his ledgers, all his debts and all his keys. That's the night I learned that kindness walks behind the feet. You think it's just a doorway, just a different kind of room, but here every quiet favor writes a date on how you lose. There are lines in the ledger you can't erase. Every call you answer leaves a fingerprint in place. You can run these numbers, you can ride this game, but the book keeps turning back to your name. I'm the one who balances the dark against the gain, and the ledger never, no, it never forgets your name. Talk about expansion, say you're ready for your slice. You think these polished floors were bought at yesterday's price. See that chessboard in the corner, pieces waiting by the king. Half of them are quiet ghosts who thought they owned this thing. There's a folder with your habits in the second bottom drawer. Every time you lost your temper, every time you wanted more. Right now it's just a record, just a shadow in my file. One wrong move across this desk and it turns from note to trial. I don't raise my voice, I don't sell you any fear, I just slide the pages toward you, let the songs appear. You can take this seat beside me, keep your footsteps slow and clean, or chase that shining crown alone and pay for everything between. There are lines in the ledger, written deep and tight. Every late night bargain, every soft yes said in light. You can count your winnings, you can love your fame, but the ink still circles back to your name. I'm the quiet hand that weighs the power Talking like you're ready for the weight around my throat. You say you want the phone calls when the brave ones step aside, to be the name they dial when they've got no place to hide. You like the way I'm posted, where the echoes never reach, but you ain't seen the marks beneath the polish and the speed. There's a sedan in the corner with the engine ticking down, trunk still warm from back roads far outside this restless town. On the pillow by your shoulder, someone carved a crooked crown. Overhead the traffic rumbles like a far-off metal sound. You're asking for directions to the place where I've been living, but I paved that little kingdom with the sins I'm still not given. You think silence is a weapon you can hang around your neck. You don't feel the way it cuts when there's no one left to check. You don't want the quiet man keep all the names, all the nights that we never let speak. I'm the one that turns a handle while the rest just fall asleep. But you don't want what the quiet man keep. Every secret is a stone in a wall without a door. You step in here with hunger, you step out, now you no more. I folded motel towels with the sunrise in my face, wiped a trail of muddy footprints from a lonely leaving place. Pulled tape off cardboard boxes in a storage under lights. Found a wallet, found a ring, slid them out of other sights. I know which bridge they favor when they're running out of time. I just drive the empty highway with their story under mine. I don't beg for any mercy, I don't chase this city's grace. I just keep my steering steady, keep my name in its own place. If you step across this line, kid, you won't ever really sleep. You'll be paid in steady breathing while the pictures still run deep. You don't want what the quiet man keep, all the calls after midnight when the concrete feels too deep. I'm the last one in the stairwell and the first to make it neat. But you don't want what the quiet man keep. Every promise is a weight, every favor hides a score. You think you're walking taller, you're just sweeping one floor more. You don't want what the quiet man keep. gasoline hum in the hallway. Long row of lockers on my right. Badge on a hook in the middle. Gun in a drawer out of sight. Styrofoam cup on the counter. Coffee dried into a ring. Case file stacked by the exit. Red stamps telling me what to bring. Clock above the steel detector, blinking one past dead of night. I thumb the switch on the light bank, leave one strip of ceiling light. I've walked this place in a uniform. I've walked it with no name at all. Shook hands in the back staircase, took calls in the basement hall. Sometimes I move a schedule, sometimes I move a list of doors. Trade a knock for quiet footsteps, so a man can clear his floors. I write reports that lean a little, tilt the picture just enough. Keep the bosses chasing thunder while I'm steering from the cup. The law's supposed to own you, keep you bolted to one track. But I learned to feel the handle, pull it forward, pull it back. Every rule they wrote around me turned to links I learned to see. Now I'm walking with that chain folded quiet into me. I keep a leash on the law, drag it slow when I decide. Choose which doors get kicked wide open, which can keep their secrets tight. I'm the calm behind the siren, I'm the hand that checks the key. I can tilt the scales at midnight and walk out like I'm still free. I was not in flashy metal, just to prove what you can draw. It's in holding back the thunder, with a leash on the law. Concrete pillars in a garage, yellow numbers on the stone, tail lights dripping down the ramp, someone pacing on their phone, manila folder on my front seat, rubber band about to snap, one more name that bought a favor, one more line I let unwrap, underpass along the river, rusted railings, seeping seams, boots on gravel, distant traffic, like a low mechanical stream. There was a night they tagged a kid I knew by another name. I could have slid his folder sideways, let the river take the blame. But I'd cashed his last 3 chances, keeping heat off where he stayed. So I watched them close that jacket, that's a debt I never paid. I keep a leash on the law, yeah, but it keeps a leash on me. Every file I've ever twisted rides along where I can see. I'm the shadow in the doorway when the lights are burning raw. I can tilt the world at midnight, but I answer to that claw. Power's not in walking spotless, like you never saw the flaw. It's in owning what you've been, put a leash on the law. This lamp throws a little island on the wood, and contract stack is sleeping where your coffee cup once stood. Floor to ceiling glass keeps the city at my feet. Red brake lights crawling slow along the narrow grid of street. Your key cards lying by the pantry, still warm from your hand. Nameplate shining on an empty chair across from where I stand. I start a message on the screen, just let the cursor blink. Delete your name, close the window, lean back, watch the night and think. I move numbers like I'm sliding pieces on a board, turn a balance into orders that the quiet men enforce. Every deal that hits this desktop leaves a mark I never show. Profits in the upper column, little ghosts down below. Safe door shuts with a soft steel kiss when the ledgers go inside. Passwords etched in muscle memory, combinations in my spine. They see cufflinks, polished shoes, and all this tailored midnight cloth. They don't see the way this power pushed your shadow from this loft. I built a life on staying calm while other people shake. I chose a seat behind this glass, I chose the lines I break. Penthouse after midnight, I got the city in my hand. I can tilt the scales for anyone without a word or race command. Penthouse after midnight, every empire has a cost. Up here with a perfect view, I count the things that I have lost. You walked away at closing time, I watched the elevator close. Penthouse after midnight, I'm the last one that it owes. I still hear the soft old thud of your suitcase by the door. Elevator numbers counting down like a quiet little war. Security screens glow pale blue, corridors and floors all clear. Your reflection gone from the glass now, but your shape still lingers here. I could have called before you reached the lobby, pulled you back, but control is how I'm armored in the hairline in the silence take your place. Sign my name on 3 more pages with your shadow on my face. If you ever ride back up here, don't expect a softer plan. Same desk, same glass, same steady hand that moves what others can. I won't promise you a clean life or a gentle, quiet mind. All I offer is a loyal pulse and a very dangerous kind. Penthouse after midnight, I still keep everything in line. I can move this whole machine with just a signature of mine. Penthouse after midnight, I keep my back straight, jaw on frost, but in the margin of my power, you're the one unpaid cost. You're somewhere under all these lights, where my reach won't quite extend. Penthouse after midnight, I'm the star and not your own. Motel sign buzzes red over cracked white plastic chairs. Ice machine in the hallway, coughing out its tired breath. Room key on a metal ring, hanging from my finger slow. Gloves in my back pocket, bleach bottle on the floor by the door. Thin carpet eyes, old stories, darker than the stains you see. I move the curtains just an inch, let the highway glare find me. Bedspread pulled up tight now, trash bag tied and by my side. Whatever you did in here tonight, kid, I just made it look like nobody died. They don't call me for a scare. They call me when the room is wrong and they need it like it wasn't there. I'm the last name in the ledger, after gunmen, after schemes. I'm the man who makes your loud mistakes vanish into other people's dreams. I learned early not to tremble, standing on this pale floor tile. Keep my heart face like I've been here a while. There's a price tag on that stillness, on these quiet, steady hands. Every time I scrub a corner, I erase where some young fool once stands. You think you're fire in the alleys, racing hard in stolen cars, but you don't see where all that heat goes when it finally leaves your heart. If you ever see me standing in your doorway, kid, you're already gone too far. By the time they send the cleaner. They've already weighed your heart. I don't argue with the figures, I don't plead your case at all. I just wipe away the evidence of the night you missed the call. I move quiet through these motels like a shadow with a scar. And if my boots cross your threshold, you're already gone too far. Laughing loud with bruised up hands, talking like the whole world owed you for a few unlucky plans. I saw myself across that table, just a little faster, less afraid. All swagger, no horizon, thinking still keeps every promise that you made. Now your jacket's on this chair back, your footprints on this floor, your story in a heavy bag I'm carrying through the door. Maybe you're still out there breathing, maybe you're cooling in the yard. Either way, this quiet hallway knows you pushed this road too hard. Hear me once, cause I won't say it when the daylight's burning bright. You don't want a man like me cleaning up your Saturday night. Learn to walk away from dares that wanna carve into your soul before you wake up with a cleaner making neat work of what you stole. If you ever see me standing in your doorway, kid, you're already gone too far. When the phone rings with your story, they've already locked the bar. I won't bargain with the outcome, I won't rewrite who you are. I just bleach out all the shouting and leave silence where you are. So I'll drive out past this exit with your echo in my car, and pray this is the last time I have to ride it quite this far. Last call on the platform speaker, metal echo down the line, fluorescent halo on the timetable, numbers bleeding into time. There's a folded ticket in my fist, one name printed black and plain, just a duffel by my ankle, just a steel throw rolling train. Benches empty, vending humming, paper cup beside the bin. I step over all my footprints and I don't look back again. Carriage door size shut behind me, rubber seals around the past, dirty window holds the skyline like a secret fading fast. There's a seat with torn-up vinyl. There's a handle by the pan. There's a hook where your old sweater used to hang inside my brain. Phone is heavy in my pocket, every number turned to stone. I could call you for forgiveness, but I'd rather stand alone. I have never cracked in back rooms, never talked when steel was near. Kept my promises in silence, kept my monsters in the rear. Leaving isn't running, crying, it's a different kind of fight. It's a man who knows he's deadly, choosing distance over sight. My name's on a one-way ticket, out of everything I build. Rails below me carry secrets, carry money, carry guilt. I'm not begging any mercy, I'm just changing where I stand. Same hard code in different stations, same slow power in my hands. If this train keeps cutting miles between my footsteps and that street, then the life that used to own me won't decide how we two meet. I remember backroom tables, folding bills with quiet grace. Other men were loud and careless, I just memorized each face. You once traced the lines beside my eyes and asked what they had seen. I said nothing worth repeating, though they played their in-between. Now these ceiling lights are swaying like a slow and steady oars. I can't keep you in that empire, so I choose to lose them both. If you wake and feel the distance like a hand across your chest, no, I didn't choose a stranger, I chose safety for your rest. I can swallow every memory, ride this dark without a spark. Better I stay just a rumor than the fire that leaves a mark. My name's on a one-way ticket, not a prayer and not a plea, just a man who stays a weapon, stepping off your daily scene. I'm not running from the danger, I'm just changing where I stand. Same hard code in different shadows, same slow power in my hands. When this train slides past the border of the place we used to claim, you'll be sleeping through the silence, and I'll carry out my name. Engine ticking by the water, hood still warm from across the town. Warehouse sign with missing letters, one lone bulb swinging down. Dock ropes coiled like sleeping snakes, pallets stacked against the wall. Boot prints in a crooked trail, from the gravel to the call. Boss had me in the back, room shut, voice low and sad. And you're the one who keeps it tidy when the trouble gets too near. Slid a folder on the table with a name I knew by heart. Brother from the same thin street where I learned this kind of art. Collar up against a chill, hands shoved deep inside his pockets, like he's holding back the spill. Eyes meeting mine and there's a flicker, half regretting, half old jokes. We used to run in stolen cars, now he's standing cold to coast. He says they sent you, not the others, but still got to mean a thing. I say it means this night ain't over till I cut out its sting. There's a revolver shadow reaching from the trunk across the ground, and a metal thermos on the dash, slowly cooling without sound. I've been the last one in the room when deals jumped off the tracks. Quiet hand that wipes a record, never asking for it back. But each step on these boards tonight walks across our younger years, trying to keep my code unbroken while I walk around as fears. Cause I keep a leash on the law so the gentlemen can sleep. Hold the hounds of this city on a chain they never see me keep. When the night gets wild and dirty, when the lines turn soft and raw, they keep their cuffs and collars clean. I keep a leash on the law. I'm the calm at every crime scene when the story's gone too far. I'm the man who makes it vanish, and I carry every scar. Bleach bottle by the doorway, rubber gloves on both my hands, plastic sheet and rolled and waiting by a stack of rusted cans. I lock the warehouse from the inside, hear the padlock take a breath. Somewhere under all this concrete, there's a rumor about death. We talk once more about the old days, cards on crates and cheap guitars, about the promise that we made to never bow beneath these bars. He broke it first, I enforce it now. Same oath from different sides, leave no trace for them to follow, just the weight behind my eyes. There was a time I just moved boxes, wrote the numbers, swept the floor. Thought I'd stay the man behind the curtain, never guarding any door. Then one night a job went sideways and the whole room lost its nerve. I stepped forward, held it steady, learned what role I really serve. Now I keep a leash on the law. When the gentlemen lose their grace, hold the dogs of this city on a chain no cord can trace. When the night turns mean and hungry, when the truth won't fit the file, they stay polished in their offices. I walk the darker aisle. I'm the calm
night that leash hangs heavy with a name I used to know.